Welcome into Mock Draft Monday. You know what that means? Today, we're hosting a mock draft. And the format we're doing today is we're going to do a half PPR mock with Yahoo settings for rosters. So that means we're going 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, flex spot, quarterback, tight end. Traditional Yahoo settings on Sleeper. So look forward to it and join us and have a good time as we start these drafts. As I can find the intro, there it is. Welcome into a glorious day. I know I said it's mock draft Monday. I don't know why I said that because it's freaking Wednesday. But anyways, we're all over the
Hey,
place here.
you're
Shenanigans.
look.
I don't know why. I had it in my head.
Hey,
It's
you're
Monday. So
already in
yeah,
next Monday. You're ready for the football season. You're trying to get
I
us
That's
ahead.
it.
I
I
have been
appreciate
ready
it.
the past like 6 months. So how, gentlemen, how's it going? How y'all doing today?
Good. Ready to get
Yeah,
into
man.
some of this. This is gonna help me prepare for my home league. I got that draft coming up in a few weeks. So, we've done mocks all summer, all year. I've really put off my own home league outside, and I haven't thought about that. So this will be a good refresher for me, so I can try to dominate. My wife won last year, so if I don't win, hopefully she wins again. But we'll see.
She just lords that over you.
She does. There's a huge see this trophy. That's hers. So it's
That's
a big trophy back there is
She,
hers. So
she's like, you call yourself an analyst? Because
yeah,
all year, when you live with that, that's gonna be rough.
low key. See, I'm just typing the words. It's her words though.
yeah.
Oh,
Hollywood Jack is in full effect. We don't know. It's the off
that's it.
season. That's when he shines.
That's it, baby. No, we're here, somewhere in the world, but hanging out, enjoying vacation, and trying to get back into it here. Like you said, your home league, mine's kicking off in a couple weeks here. I still got to do like keeper values and like sort everybody out, but we switched from Yahoo finally last year. I'm 100% sleeper, but we still got those Yahoo settings in this sleeper league. So, like you said, just preparing for the home league and getting ready.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's gonna be interesting, like switching over for a lot of people. I think it's fun to kind of do these mock drafts to get yourself ready. Like I have a similar league like this. I can't get him out of half PPR, so I'm like, all right, can we at least move to sleeper? We found the move to sleeper a couple years ago, and I was like, thank the Lord, thank you. Like ESPN, the thing I hate about ESPN is you can't draft on your phone. Like they don't have a draft board. It's the
Mm.
most frustrating thing of all time. So I'm like, we got to get out of this league. So yeah, excited to do it on sleeper. So yeah, it should be a fun draft. Are you guys have any strategies you're gonna employ in this draft, or are you gonna just kind of play it as it goes?
Well, looking at the rosters, 3 wide receivers, single QB, 2 running back, 2 flex, tight end, kicker, defense. Obviously, punt, kicker and defense till later. But in single QBs, man, I'm punting quarterback as long as I can, right, to make sure we can get there. Nice, Mr. Miyagi. He comes up with
Mr.
some great
Miyagi,
nicknames for
that's
us.
that's
But,
that's Daniel's son right there. That's not Mr. Miyagi.
Walks out, walks out. Yeah, he's got the hair. Yeah, it's definitely more of
uh,
the protege.
oh, so we'll see. I'm probably gonna attack the wide receivers because we're starting 3 of them. So
Mhm.
that is
Yeah,
why I chose that 3 spot.
yeah.
So and punt the quarterback and single quarterbacks, man. Punt quarterback. I don't even if Mahomes is staring you down, punt it. It's one QB.
Yeah,
You'll be good.
Oh
yeah.
boy,
I,
I'm
I
not seeing
agree with
that
you,
coming.
except I agree with you, except for the fact that it's half PPR. So that's always the struggle for me is like 3 wide receiver, but half PPR. So if you want to go like the Mike Evanses of the world instead of like a high volume guy, I get that. It just
Yeah.
gets a little dicey for me with the half PPR setting. So we'll
True.
see. I expect running backs to fly off the board a little bit more than usual, but everybody's fading running backs this year, so that could be the value.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I love me some running back. So we'll see
That's
how
it.
this goes. Let's kick this draft off and let's start it and see where it goes. So we'll fire this bad boy up, and we have the computer picking a couple. Of course, Christian McCaffrey's dealing, and that leaves SC in a good spot. So we're
So
gonna go here.
perfect. Was hoping Hill would get to me. He's been saying man 2,000 yards. He's gotten pretty damn close. So we'll see if he can finally
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah, I think it's him and CeeDee Lamb are the top 2 wide receivers. Like you can make the case. I'm surprised Justin Jefferson went ahead of Jamar Chase, but
Hmm.
and then it gets down
Yeah.
to Brees or Bijan. And I think it's interesting that, like, we kind of saw the Atlanta thing come out where it's like, oh, they're going to be splitting work again. And I'm like, man, we know Brees Hall is not going to be splitting work. So I think if you're ciphering between those 2 running backs, you should probably go Brees Hall. And my thought process is even though it's not 3 wide receivers here, I'm going to get the elite running back early because then the wide receivers available in rounds 2 and rounds 3 are really, really good. And I don't see much of a difference in those, wide receivers. So I'm going to take the high end running back and just take that and lock
Hmm.
it in. see where it goes. So like I'm just gonna default to Brees here, even though I think Amon-Ra would be a great picker as well.
Yeah, and he went next, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
obviously he was the pick, right? For me, Tyreek Hill is top 2, and he's not 2. I love that pick there. I get CD with the volume, but I just think Tyreek Hill is absolutely going to dominate. That whole offense is just going to go off again, super safe. We don't know if CD is going to come into camp ready to roll week 1, right? Like it could take him a couple weeks to fire on all cylinders. So I love that pick. And then, yeah, you can't go wrong with Brees Hall. Looking at the rest of this draft, Amon-Ra and A.J. Brown makes sense. Garrett Wilson is here. I took him at the 108 in PPR. I just think he's going to be a monster this season, so I'm happy with him. You also got Jahmyr Gibbs there staring me in the face. So these are the clear top options because it's coming back around, and I think I have a better chance at Wilson than Gibbs, or at least that wide receiver value. I'm going to go Jahmyr here at the 111. And there we go. And it'll come right back around, and I'll get my guy, Garrett Wilson. Puka's got a little bit of that injury concern. I'm not a huge ETN fan, although his value I think is fine. But yeah, for me, to walk away with Gibbs and Garrett Wilson, that's a great start.
I think I would take an ETN over Jonathan Taylor. I'm not sold on Jonathan Taylor. I think with Anthony Richardson being there, people are still living off his RB1 status 2 years ago. He hasn't done that in 2 years. He's hasn't been healthy on the field, and now you get a rushing quarterback that's gonna devalue him as well. So I'm fading him where I can. I would have taken any of the 3 running backs after Taylor right now.
Yeah, I think it's interesting with these wide receivers actually early because like Jamar Chase is also technically holding out. We don't hear much about that. Amari Cooper's another guy is kind of going on a lot of these safe wide receivers. I don't think they're as safe as we think they are. Like with CeeDee Lamb, we don't know he's going to show up. Tyreek Hill dealing with the injuries and stuff, but it seems like he's going to be fine. Yeah. Justin Jefferson, no quarterback, or his quarterback is Sam Darnold. So it's a really interesting spot, and I actually do not like this spot of picks. Like I could go Drake London. I think he's pretty good. I love Devontae Adams. I absolutely hate his quarterback
10
situation.
seconds, Jesse.
I know. So I'm just going to default to Devontae and just live with it. But man, like it just sucks because he's such a good player. If this was like a more traditional build where it's like 2 running backs, I would have probably gone without Chain. But I really, in three wide receivers, I want to leave with a wide receiver the first 2 rounds. I can't just pivot that much because I'm giving up those truly elite guys.
And the benefit is Minshew fed Pittman last year, right? So now Minshew's there to feed Devontae Adams. So I think that's a great pick there. This becomes interesting.
Absolutely.
So don't want Kyren.
Yeah, in hindsight, I would rather flip it. I would rather gone wide receiver, taking Garrett Wilson or Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then come back with Achain in round 2. But that's not how I expected it to go. So you live and learn, right?
That's it.
Just half PPR too. Man, I think I go Olave. I think just stacking up the wide receivers there.
It's a pretty good third spot, though. Yeah, so now you have Olave and Hill. What's your kind of strategy from this point forward?
I think because of just the premium status of what I think the tight end will be with Laporta here, I think I will go him. I don't want Jacobs quite yet. I'm going to punt on the running backs here. Debo and Mike Evans are good. I just find that Sam Laporta is a better value for them. Like, I think he could get more opportunity there just because of his involvement in the offense. So I'm going to go ahead and get my tight end. But now I can punt tight end. Again, a single spot tight end. I'm not really worried about that unless, the elites, unless like Kincaid falls to me here at the next round or something like that, then maybe I can take him. But at least I locked in that spot for me now.
Yeah, I of the 1Z positions, tight end and quarterback, I really want to make sure I get an elite tight end more than the QB because I view quarterback as a lot deeper, right? So if I'm going to make the push for one of those, personally, I think it's tight end. So I think going Laporta is a really good pick. Like, what you're getting out of Laporta. He's really good. So I like that selection a lot because you lock it in.
Interesting. And we talked about this in the previous mock. Granted, it was full PPR, but I want one of those top 6 guys. And in full PPR, they all went by the end of the 5th round, ending with Pitts. So I want one of those guys. And like you said, I will push quarterback. You can get Caleb, you can get Daniels, and then pair them with like a Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins. And then you have the safety with the upside, and you can do both of those guys round 10 and beyond.
Team Civic, yeah, Team 6, all running backs. I love it. That's just power, robust running back. They said, you know what, we're just gonna pivot. I really like the wide receivers in this round 3 range. Like we're talking Jalen Waddle, Nico. I'm not a big Stephon Diggs fan, but DJ Moore. You go Malik Neighbors if you're really bullish on him. I'm going to take Nico just because I know he's going to be the number 1 option in that offense. Jalen Waddle is like a fantastic choice in this range, though. Like I think he's a very, very good player. So you can end up with him. I'd be happy to do one of those guys.
Man, I think Diggs is gonna be that guy in the offense. I know they paid Nico, but I feel they're gonna feed Diggs because they brought him in, and I think that's just him. Whether he stays there next season, I don't know. What Diggs will do is get defenses to focus on him, so Nico will see better opportunities because he's gonna be open more with Diggs now there. But also, I mean, Tank, man, Tank. CJ Stroud loves this guy, Tank, and if Tank is healthy, that very well could be the guy that gets the most targets. Does that relate to receptions and yards? I don't know, but he definitely can be the most targets just because I know CJ Stroud has a chemistry with him, and CJ Stroud loves him. I mean, that's his guy that came in together, and I think that's something that he's going to continue to try to grow with him, and I think he missed him last season because he knew the type of playmaker he is.
Yeah, we've kind of seen the preseason usage for like those guys, and they're clearly like Tank's the third guy in that offense right now. Now he could pass Stephon Diggs. I think it's entirely possible. I just think he's the guy that's going to be the big playmaker in that offense. Like he's the guy that's going to hit those big. So you just kind of got to live with the variance. And I hope he beats out Stephon Diggs. So I think that's better for the offense in general. But yeah, you're right. Like it could be him.
Yeah, 100%. I'm on the clock here. I took Jalen Waddle. So Wilson and Waddle, more volume than kind of touchdown guys in a half PPR. Right now, I am debating between DK Metcalf. I'm probably Metcalf over Neighbors just for the slight uncertainty of what the hell's going on in New York with the quarterback position. Right. But then I'm looking at tight end, and there's some really enticing options here. I would probably go McBride here if this were a normal draft, but I'm going to risk it and see what tight ends come back, and I'm going to go DK and fill out my wide receiver room.
Yeah, that's a good choice. You can't go wrong with that. I wanted one of DK or Neighbors. I knew they weren't going to fall, but that was what I was hoping was going to happen for me, right? Now it's really like, do you go for Lamar here? Do I go for the tight ends? Like, it's really good value, and I'm most likely going to default because these wide receivers, like, once we get past the Neighbors and Metcalf, like it's kind of a teardrop for me. Like a lot of these guys are very similar, and if I see that, I'm going to take the position that has the advantage. So I'm just going to take my tight end one and get McBride. I am getting more bullish on Kincaid as the season progresses. Like, I think he's the tight end who could push upwards of like 150 targets. I think like he has that range of options just because they don't have a lot of options at Buffalo, and Josh Allen is still a good quarterback. But I know like Trey McBride's done it more, so I'm just going to count on Trey McBride with Kyler Murray and all of that.
Love it.
Yeah, great pick.
Man, 4th running backs for Team 6. Wowza.
At PPR, they know what's up.
Hey, they're doing good though because they're doing a hero RB approach for us, right? Without us even telling them, so that's good.
Right? They're scooping up the value position. So 100%.
We'll say
like 4 is going 0.
Yeah. I had a feeling.
There you go. They just got one. Oh, tell me shit. Oh, I want to punt quarterback, but man, CJ Stroud looks nice there.
He's really good.
Yep.
And you might be able to pair him with a certain wide receiver later.
Yeah.
Not much later.
Right here,
they're all going to go.
Yeah, like the next round, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So, though, I mean, that's where, going and talking to, about it. I'll go ahead and get
0 RB. 0 RB.
You hope he comes back. I didn't get it. Wait. Yeah. I feel like just based on ADP, you should have taken Stroud because I think it was more likely Tank was going to fall to you. Because we're playing with computer, and computer is really on that. So I think in a regular league, I think it probably makes more sense to do what you did. But in the knowing computer makes it super risky.
So see, this is interesting too because I feel I normally would punt tight end, but I can put a tight end in the flex, right? So I mean, Kincaid right there to pair him with Laporta makes sense to go to because now you have 2 elite prospects, and in one of my leagues, I actually ended up taking Kincaid, McBride, and Bowers. It's a tight end premium league to say that, but still, I think at that value, I mean, he's gonna get fed like he's a wide receiver. I feel like so.
Oh boy, he's staring me right in the face, Mr. Richardson. All right, so I have a decision to make here. I could go Richardson, or I could get my 3rd wide receiver and then come back with one of the quarterbacks later. Now I like these wide receivers. On the running backs, I'm in this middle range where I don't like a lot of these positions, so it makes me want to jump. But when I do that, I don't like how my team looks. So this is kind of where I have to contain myself. Because I mean, ideally, I go for the stack with Kyler around later, which unless like Jeremy goes and takes him, which is entirely possible, that's the risk I take. So we're just gonna do it. We're just gonna take Richardson. Screw it. We're just gonna go. And this is how I talk myself into bad decisions. Where I'm like, you know what? Just gonna do it and see how it works. So yeah.
Fucking Kyle Pitts. God damn it.
Oh,
he screwed me.
It's fine.
The snipe.
It's fine.
I like Evan Ingram. Evan, look, tight end 2 last year. Very happy with Evan Ingram. I'm not taking him here. I can't justify that, and so I think I'm going to lose out on him. But I'm looking at the wide receivers, and I don't like those guys either. So we're half PPR. I'm going to go ahead and pound running back, and we're going to start with James Conner. I mean, that just the volume is there. You talk about the Arizona Cardinals. We love them this year. And then I got SC's boy Najee staring me in the face. I got Mostert staring me in the face. And I also got Kyler there. So it's really difficult here. I could take Ingram. I can't bring myself to do it. This is rough. I'm going to, either way, I'm going to snipe one of you guys.
I would, if you're looking at tight end, I'd probably go Bowers over Ingram.
Yeah, I can't go Bowers. I'm gonna do Najee just because. Let's see, we're in the early 6th. I think it's still pretty good value, especially with the Warren injury. And now I have 3 running backs, and I can just focus on everything else from here.
Najee was a great pick. Son of a bitch.
They're both in between.
So he went 602 here. He went 703 in our mock draft with a couple of other people in it on Monday. So, middle, end of the 6th, beginning of the 7th. I mean, that's crazy value for Najee right there.
Yeah,
man, Najee's about to run crazy.
Yeah.
So if I take a running back here, I'm going to try to see if one of those wide receivers falls. I don't know if that's a great idea here. Forget it. I'm going to actually take I'm gonna take the Chiefs worthy. Let's just have some fun with it and go with it. I would take Godwin because I almost want to snipe Aaron because Aaron's gonna take Godwin. We know how he's gonna do it, and then you should take Deontay to piss him off and snipe him.
Yes. Yep.
Because we know how Aaron's gonna draft. Ooh, he goes Mostert. Interesting.
Oh, took my boy.
Yeah, I was honestly looking at Mostert to be honest.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get another wide receiver here in Terry McLaurin. I think that's going to be a good pick for Jaden Daniels, and that could be a good year for him.
Yeah, definitely got the upside.
Plus, you've got that true zero RB. I feel like you have to go get a quarterback right now and just keep punting. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I was looking at that too because the running backs I don't like. Zamir White, he could get the work right, but I'm also not necessarily sold Brooks as my first RB when he's going to be out. I don't want that, so I'm going to continue to punt. I mean, Kyler comes in here then, right, to go ahead and get him because I think he could. I think he has upside to face as the QB1. Especially if he's healthy, having that.
I think that's a really good pick, getting Kyler in the 7th. Like that's really good value. You know he's going to be good for fantasy. Like you don't have questions about him. He's coming back off the ACL the second year. Like everything's shaping up for him. They give him our Harrison Jr. another weapon. Like Connor's still there. You got McBride. Like. This could be Kyler Murray's best year yet. It's just like it's entirely in the range of outcomes. So I love Kyler. I think he's great value.
And that goes into why in Superflex, right? He's not there, but in single QB, put your quarterbacks. I like the team I have right now with the some elite wide receivers, 2 elite tight ends, and now you have a quarterback that has the potential to finish as QB1 on the season, not just week by week QB1 on the season overall because of his rushing upside, and now he has a true alpha on his team too.
Zamir White,
and he's getting. Kyler's getting all the buzz just to finish that as well. His head coach is hyping him up. His teammates are hyping him up. So I think it's looking real good for Kyler this year. Good bounce back.
100%. Yeah, I'm with you guys. So we could play this game here. So I already took one Chief. I'm really believing like Rashee Rice just plays, and I think like his price point is ridiculous. Getting him in the 7th.
It is.
But I don't know about doing 2 Chiefs here, but like of the wide receivers, it's him or Deontay are the only 2 guys I really would target. I could go Jonathan Brooks and get my second running back. I think I'm gonna wait it out on Brooks because I don't think I need to push it because there's a lot of guys I still like. So I'm just gonna reach and just take Rice and see how this works out. And then I lock in my like wide receiver room. I got an extra guy, so like I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like that as well. I think with one of those guys, even if you end up benching them or seeing what happens, or if injury happens, obviously that Kansas City offense from a passing game perspective is going to go off. So no issues there. This is rough. We got Dax staring me in the face, but we're at the end of the 7th. I'm going to wait on that. I got Bowers there. I can't pull the trigger. I'm going to keep pushing that down the road. Back of the 7th. Yes, please. Deontay Johnson. Again, we're more volume here. I'm a little concerned about the touchdowns in half PPR. but I think the volume will sustain where he's at least flex worthy, and that's what I'm taking him as my wide receiver 4. One thing that I mentioned the other day on the pod as well is we're talking about starting 3 wide receivers, and I mentioned that I want at least 2 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds. I think we all accomplished that, and I think we all have 3 by the first 5 rounds. Maybe Jesse, you waited a little bit longer for your 3rd, but don't mess around with wide receiver if you got to start 3. Is my point. I mean, you got to go get those guys.
Yeah, if you're gonna punt like the 3rd wide receiver, you better have 2 really elite wide receivers, right? Like you better have those high end guys, so it kind of offset the variance of that 3rd wide receiver when you're starting 3. So if you go early heavy, you can kind of push it, and then you get the guys that are boom bust and live with that. I just think it's a good pick. And Brooks, son of a bitch, like why are you doing me like that?
And
this leads to a really weird.
Well, so just real quick on those is that I'm punting tight end. I've decided I like the quarterbacks. Like you said, they're deep. So now I have 4 wide receivers, 4 running backs. Brooks is my 4th running back. Feels good where I can wait on him and hopefully he pops up in the second half.
Yeah, I guess it's a solid strategy. Like your team, there's enough good quarterbacks, and this is what I mean. Like Dak, Purdy, Caleb, like even Tua Goff, and it goes away. So you can get Herbert like late in double-digit rounds here, and he's fantastic. So this is kind of like I love the upside of the early quarterbacks, but I don't want to force it because it's so deep.
Yeah.
I just don't like. This is the range of drafts I really don't like to be because I'm taking guys I'm not super confident in. If DeAndre Hopkins was healthy, I would take him. I might just reach for Brian Thomas here and just do this. But I think I'm going to just go with Zach Moss and just live with it. We'll take Zach Moss from RB too.
I'm hoping this running back gets back to me. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, if Warren wasn't dealing with that injury, I would have picked him. But I just don't want a guy dealing with that injury in my RB2 spot right away because it sounds like it's more severe than lower. So it's going to be a while, which is really good for Najee. So I think Najee is the pick between those 2 Steelers backs now. Unfortunately, because I was a big Warren.
I agree. But also with Zach Moss, I think you got a similar situation in a better offense. You got 2 backs that you're choosing from. And I think we've all collectively cooled on Zach Moss recently with all the hype and everything that's coming out about Chase Brown. At the same time, Chase Brown could be a volume guy. I don't think they're going to use him as a volume guy. There's a reason that Zach Moss was brought in, and he's going to see the work. And Brown is still the value because he hasn't gone off the board yet, but Moss is still going to be. I think he's a goal line for the majority of the work and the short yardage guys. So.
Yeah, and he's clearly running behind Zach Moss. So I think they view him as kind of the complementary, explosive piece in that backfield, which he kind of is. Yep. It's just I don't know if he's going to play 3rd down role either. That's the whole question mark. He needs to work on his pass protection. So there's more. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Ooh, JSN, that was a good pick for them. I like what they did there, JSN. Yeah.
Was that Singletary?
The Singletary.
Who'd you lose out on, SC?
Oh, yeah, Singletary. I was hoping he got back to me.
Yeah.
That's really the last guy that I really, really like, I guess, right now. I just gotta get a running back, so I'm gonna go ahead and get Robinson there.
I love Brian Robinson there.
I think that's good value. I know people are heavy on Eckler, but I think he's still gonna get the carries, so
yeah, Eckler should not be going above Brian Robinson. I don't know why we're doing that. I'm just everything tells us that Brian Robinson is going to be the guy in that backfield.
Yeah.
So I just it's the name caching. I think that's what it is. All right, so this leads to an interesting spot. Jaylen Warren keeps falling, and I don't mind the value on him here, but I think I just don't trust the Pittsburgh offense, and it terrifies me, man. Seeing everything that's coming out of that offense. Russell Wilson's finally getting healthy, so he'll probably get snaps. But what Justin Fields is going to do in that offense. So I just really don't want that many pieces in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to guide to a guy that I think is just as talented as Warren and TJ Spears. I'm just going to grab him here and get him as my RB3 and just live with that because I don't want to mess around. I think Warren goes right after. I think he's a really good value too. I really like the upside Spears prevents in this range, so I'm fine taking the stab on him there.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And Tajay Spears is a great value. And a lot of the running backs that I want outside of Chase Brown just went. So that's no fun. I'm looking at wide receiver here, seeing if I could still push some stuff down the road. It's really hard. I've loved this guy for so long that I hate him now. And I might love him again. It's really hard to ignore the drumbeat and everything that's going on with Jameson Williams. Amon-Ra is going to get his. Laporte is going to get his. Gibbs is going to get his. But it's also possible that Jameis is going to get his. He could siphon a little bit off. I saw him running slant routes. He's taken balls away from defenders that are draped all over him. I mean, he could be the guy that we thought he was going to be.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, I mean, damn, he's going to be insane, and that offense is going to be insane. They should win the damn Super Bowl if J-Mo comes out, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
I think
for
it's
sure.
really good. Yeah, he's really. I think I love the talent. Like he was my number 3 wide receiver in that draft class coming out, and he's finally seemed like he got his head figured out, got all of the issues out. So he could be. I just wonder what the upside is, but you just have to live with the variance he's going to give you because the offense and there goes Goff.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be a lot of like highs and there's going to be a lot of lows, and you just have to be okay with that drafting him because he could put up a 30 burger in a week and then follow it up with like 2 points, right? So you just have to be okay with that. And if you are, then yeah, write it.
But I do want guys who have like flex worthy appeal like that, who could win you a week. And then if there's injury to any of those guys I mentioned, even Gibbs, who's on my team, you know, if there's injury there, then he becomes more valuable and has that contingent upside built in. So
yeah, absolutely. All right, this leads to an interesting spot of the draft where I don't really like anybody. I think since I took Richardson, I'm gonna shoot the mood with AD Mitchell since Downs is dealing with injury, and I liked AD Mitchell a lot. I just didn't see a pathway for him, so that's why I've been lower on him. I just think he's a really talented player, and like everything coming out about him, I think he's going to push closer to Pittman than we want. So him in this range of the draft, yeah, I'll take him. Let's go, baby.
Got that Colt stack too.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
I like Adonai. That's a good value there.
Yeah.
And then there goes Caleb Williams. Like this, if this is the whole point of just waiting at court. I almost took Caleb as just to kind of block you to mess and like go for another guy, but like it's kind of limiting my other roster position. So I was like, I don't know about that.
I mean, he looks so good with just these ridiculous off-platform, off-script plays. It's just you don't know when he's going to figure it out, right? But once he figures it out, which hopefully is midseason, then he's going to be insane. Like he's going to be unstoppable, weekly QB8 or better. I mean, you see the rushing ability with him even in the preseason. So, I mean, he's going to be so good. You just hope that he's going to be good for redraft.
Here's an interesting question. I did not see. I was on paying attention. 14-team deeper league. Would you be more inclined to take running backs earlier since the wide receiver pool is deeper? It depends on how many you're starting. I'm assuming it's a start 2 of each. So I don't mind gabbing those guys. What I like about running back is there's the farther back you get higher upside chances with those guys just because it's easier for running backs to jump into the RB1 discussion, right? Because all you need is like snaps and volume. That's really all you need for running backs. Talent's kind of here or there. So yeah, I don't mind forcing the position to get some difference makers, but it's all about tiers and where they go. So I think it's team dependent on how you want to do it. But overall, and you got to know your league. If they value running back more than you got to take them earlier.
Yep. Jesse, you're up. Yeah, and just one thing too with that as well is you got to know your league. A lot of people, regardless of league, are going wide receiver early. I think there's a reason for that. Zero RB has worked in the past. We feel like there's some elite guys at the top. At the same time, you just got to find the value, right? If everyone else is going wide receiver early, go ahead and grab those running backs that are falling. But you just got to play your draft each way. If I have, ideally, yes, I like running backs early in half PPR, but you just got to play the board.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, you're back in at first. I would take the running backs there, but I'm probably still getting your wide receivers just because of the value and really the longevity. I mean, in redraft, you're talking differently, right? Because you can get those running backs having for a good season. But, I mean, it depends on the draft board where you're at, too. Like Hollywood Jack here is saying, just make sure what you do is finding that value. And at the end of the day, when you're drafting, you want to find the best value. You want to build a good team, but also you don't want to overdraft the guy because you like him. Like if the value's not there for him in a certain round, don't take him. Like Zeke, I'm not mad about taking him in the 10th round because he can possibly be the main workhorse for Dallas if he's staying healthy, right? So that gives me a top upside for a running back that late, So you find the value in your guys in what you're doing and take them at that point as well.
Yeah, I think to Jamie's point, I don't mind doing what he's doing here. But those guys are not guaranteed to be like top 2 options in their passing attack. And I think that's the question. I think Dotson, it's a much easier pathway because they don't have a lot of passing attack. With Wilson, it's really interesting because this McBride is going to be above him. And so is Marvin Harrison Jr. So you're talking about the third option in an offense. And why I like AD Mitchell more is because he could be the second option in that offense behind Pittman. So that pathway seems a lot more clear. So for Dotson, yeah. I don't want to over project those guys if you're unsure about volume and routes because if they're not getting it, it could be like a Dontavian situation or Shaheed last year where they're not getting all the volume you need, but they're really efficient. And it's still like you can't really start those guys. So you have to be very careful if you overvalue those guys. Because like a lot of times we'll like love these players in situations, but if you can't protect volume for them, it's so difficult, man, because you could just love them on the small apples outsides like Elijah Moore, and they do nothing for you. So you just have to be very careful with that, let's say.
And to that point on volume, right? And to the question on Jamie, if you look at just the last 3 draft picks that I made, 10, 11, and 12, we've got 3 ambiguous backfields of guys who could be the one in their backfield. And I love taking the shots on those guys as opposed to later wide receivers who could creep up. So that's another reason why I want wide receiver early, because I'm going to take a ton of shots on these running backs in ambiguous backfields in double-digit rounds.
So I gotta head out here, guys, but I'm gonna tell y'all my strategy going in right now. Just because the quarterback value is still there, I like some of these quarterbacks better than what I like the other picks. So my strategy here is gonna be going quarterback with this next pick. Go 2 wide receivers and then fill it out, get my kicker and defense. But I'll only get one of them, and I could get a defense in the 13th just to get an elite one, make sure I get a top one there, and then the kicker though I'm not getting him till the last round. But right here, because I'm back on. Let me just make sure. So Kyler has the same bye week as Baker, so I'm not going to get that. But I like watching, so I'm not mad about getting him as my QB2, especially in a single quarterback league. And then coming back here, like I mentioned with the wide receivers, I mean, I just got Watson right, so I'll go ahead and pair him with Judy. I think that's a great fit there. And then to finish off, I'll go get a wide receiver, just one that I think has tons of upside, maybe Troy Franklin, but then get my defense and kicker down there too.
100%. Yeah. And Jeremy's having a little bit fun with it. It's like, Aaron's like, hey, guess what? I'm gonna take all the quarterbacks to do. So you can know your league mates and how they do it, and it makes it a little difficult if you punt too much, because like we're looking at quarterbacks available on the board. And it is not pretty, folks.
It's ugly.
It's
ugly.
Rough. Yeah. So I would just take the shot on the mobile upside young quarterbacks at this point, because the rest of the guys are silent. Great.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's taking guys, but so the guys that Aaron's taken here later, Stafford, I love. Geno, I love. I think those guys can approach 40 touchdowns. Kirk Cousins is probably going to struggle a little bit just because they're going to run the crap out of the ball in Atlanta. And Baker, I don't think, has that opportunity. So if I'm taking a non-mobile quarterback, especially late, I'm not going to take a guy who doesn't have a chance at 40 touchdowns, at least in my belief. So it's not those guys. But if I'm looking here, I still got Levis, I got Fields, I got Young, I got May, who could start the season. I got Daniel Jones, who no one's going to take, and I can take him in the last round right now because, it's possible Nix. He plays the whole season. It could take Bo Nix. I don't know if I'm that confident in Bo Nix, but I don't have a tight end. I don't have a tight end either, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a tight end who I think should have a pretty good season here with Aaron Rodgers. It's Tyler Conklin. We love Ben Sinnott here. I do not love Cliff Kingsbury, so I do not trust Ben Sinnott in fantasy this season, even though he's looked great in the preseason. No surprise to us. But yeah, Tyler Conklin for me. And then I'm coming back. I have to take a quarterback at this point, and it's ugly. It's real ugly. God, I don't want any of these guys.
Take the Mayo. Take Levis. All right, guys, I'm getting
that's
off.
That's what we're doing. All right, SC, see you later. But I'm going to take SC's advice. It is Will Levis. If DeAndre Hopkins comes back, hopefully relatively injury-free, we got Calvin Ridley, we got Tyler Boyd, we got the 2 running backs. The system is in place. Bill Callahan running the show over there. Levis should be fine if he's competent. We'll see if he's competent.
Let's go. I'm back in on Kamani Vidal. All I needed was a shot. Let's go, baby. I don't know if it's going to work out. Obviously, I have no clue. But we've talked about it. He's looked good when he's been on the field, and that's really all these day 3 backs need, is they need the opportunity to show themselves. He was dealing with the injury, so I mean, it might not work out. This is day 3 pick. You know what you're betting, making these bets, but I think him and Tracy are the 2 guys where I see the easiest pathway to volume for them at this point in the draft. So those are the guys that are not strictly the handcuff or backup situation. Like, they can make a name for themselves. So yeah, I like those 2 guys really late. But yeah, there's still a lot of good picks. Like McLaughlin is a really good pick, which was a value there. I knew Aaron was going to start going for his kickers and defense. I knew it was going to happen because, over time. I'm actually going to grab a quarterback here, and I'm going to take, since I have Richardson, I could be a little bit more patient with this one. I'm going to shoot the moon for Drake May. If I needed someone to play, I would go Bo Nix, or you could go Justin Fields. I think if you want to do the game where you wait, like it's Fields or May. Yeah. I just don't know if Fields is going to play. I know May is going to play at some point, so I'm going to take Drake May here as a backup and just go with that.
Yep. And I'm going to do a similar strategy, but I'm going to take the guy no one wants. I'm going to take Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones he's going to have at least a month to figure it out. If he can figure it out and just realize that he can just throw it up to Malik Neighbors every single play, and he's going to come down with it 50% of the time, they can move the football. But with Tracy out there, you already mentioned him, Singletary, the ability to catch passes. Theo Johnson looks great. I mean, this team has the potential to move the football. And that's really all I need this late. I'm also going to leave kicker off the board because who cares? And we'll go ahead and pick a defense. And I'm looking at these defenses. I don't know. I got 26 seconds. No, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm going to go Browns. I mean, they're just steady. They got all the pieces there. They should be able to. Who's next to Myles Garrett? They took somebody in free agency, I think, like who's next to Garrett now.
I should know that, and I'm blanking on it. It's
not
there.
I'll Google it while you're in.
I think
your pick.
I think with the defensive kickers, like I'm very fine just punting, seeing how it works out because like we talk about the defense, there's a ton of variance each year, and kickers like there's just not enough differentiation in the scoring between kicker 1 and kicker 12. It's a couple points, so it's like I'm really not getting a massive edge, so I don't like forcing the issue unless it's like premium scoring than different scoring. So I think with the kickers available, I'd more trust them to than the defense. But I think like the Houston Texans defense is coming on here too. Like they could surprise a lot of teams. So like I'm looking at these and it's like you could go Dicker. A lot of these kickers seem very similar to me because they're gone. So I'll just take the better defense and roll with it with Houston. It's also a late buy, so I don't think I'm gonna miss much on that. Overall, it's kind of just I don't really care too much. And Aaron gets Tracy. That's a good pick. If he was on the board, I would have taken him. I should have probably looked at the board. That was my fault.
Zadarius Smith. I think he was a Brown back in the day, wasn't he? Was he back in the day? Or the Packers?
Packers. I think it was the Vikings too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but I think before the Packers, he might have been a Brown, like way back. He's old. He's an old man.
Yeah, he's not young. Born in '92, which is old for NFL standards. So he was Baltimore, Green Bay, Minnesota,
Baltimore.
Yeah, so
Baltimore.
Yeah, he had a really good
AFC North. Yeah, good job, Aaron. Well done.
The old 1 QB bully strategy. It never fails. Exactly.
Daniel Jones QB1 season. Let's go. Not 1,000 rushing yards for Daniel Jones this year. Here we go.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's gonna break the record and fall on his face again. All right, let's look. We can look at these strategies. You can see kind of how certain teams did. Team 6 really hammered the running backs early. That's really bold. That's not something I would do. The computer's living on it, but I mean, they still got Higgins, Allen, Ridley, and McConkey. That's not a bad wide receiver core. You just have to be knowing if you do these strategies. Same thing with Team 4 where they punted and didn't take a quarterback until round 8, but you still get Dak. So you can kind of see how every strategy works. And the team next to you, Team 12, hammered wide receiver. Like they took their 0 RB or the hero RB, hammered yours. Yours is green and blue all the way till it gets around 13. So going on the strategies. How do you feel about if you left the draft with this team? Like, would you be happy with it, or do you kind of have some issues?
No, I'm not happy. It's too much, but this is a team built to trade. It's really hard to trade and redraft. But it's a team built to hopefully more guys than I need go off. I can make some sort of deal for a quarterback, but I mean, it's not looking great. I think Conklin is fine. I think Conklin has back end tight end 1 potential this year, and he's cheap as hell. The problem is I wanted one of those top 6 tight ends. It didn't happen. I really need to leave my draft with one of them. And then Jake Ferguson was the other option that, one of these teams nearby took as well. I think he's a great option later. You see, he goes in the 9th round, and he's got that tight end 7, tight end 8 written all over him for me.
Yeah, 100%. I think with your build of what you were doing, you could have gone Hawkinson a round or 2 earlier, and then pair with Conklin, you get the starter. I know you're not a big Hawkinson fan. I'm just saying with the strategy, or where we saw Purdy or Goff go, kind of in that range of the QBs, better pick. It's just that's what happens sometimes. I pushed a few of these too far, and I was like, well, yeah, it's live and learn. It's fun to do these drafts because you get an idea. Obviously, each league is different. So it's not QB, not WB. I don't know what the WB position is, but I know it's the old network channel. With Aaron's strategy, you can kind of see he kind of mixed and matched it. He made sure to get his elite quarterback and tight end. And then SC, I think it was bold of SC to take the 2nd tight end here, just because it's really hard to flex those guys in.
Really screwed me.
Really screwed me with that one. Aaron went after the quarterbacks. SC's I'm double tapping tight ends. So it made it a little bit more difficult. It's just you're getting an advantage over the rest of your league mates, but it's also kind of hurting yourself because that flex play has to give you a lot of big boosting points. So you need Kincaid to massively hit. I mean, he's really good. If they both are top 5 tight ends, then yeah, you'll love this. Outside of that, it's just a risky strategy, but it's fun to employ this and know that going in. So I think you kind of look at the board, you kind of see what happened and what went there. Overall, like, what's your thought process in general on these drafts? Do you think the mock drafts help a lot, or do they kind of hurt, or you kind of just enjoy the process of doing it?
Yeah. No, you have to know who's available where and who you're comfortable taking, and you have to take guys. You have to do it enough where you take guys where you finish with the team. And I look at this team, and I'm like, oh damn, I need to take either quarterback or tight end earlier, and I knew that, but the value kept falling, and I didn't like it where it was. That's the case, though, is that you really need to just start, if you have 3 running backs and 3 wide receivers, by round 7, go get a quarterback or a tight end, get one of these guys, secure them, and then you don't have to worry about that, and you'll fill everything in later. But what does the sleeper chat say?
Aaron just dropped 4 quarterbacks. So there's your magical quarterback that you needed. Yeah, so that is how that works. I'm with you. I think mocks are fun. They give you an idea of what to kind of expect to know how far you can punt it. Obviously, if it's like super flex, a little bit different, quarterbacks are more important. You can kind of get by, like we talk about. It's just you have to be able to push the threshold so you're not comfortable. And then once you reach that point, you're like, and you kind of feel uncomfortable, you probably should draft one. But I've been there before where I missed out on like tight end premium leagues, and I'm like, fuck, like, you know what I'm saying? It just happens. Is what it is. Yep. But yeah, I enjoyed this. Go ahead.
And you also have to say, like, we have our tiers and we understand where we want to draft guys, but you have to put that into practice at the same time. So understanding who you think is going to fall where, but then also pairing that with what you think their outcome is going to be for the season. And then you have to see if you're comfortable taking, for example, Malik Neighbors over DK Metcalf. And in 2 mocks in a row now, I'm not. So now I need to make sure that DK Metcalf is ranked above Malik Neighbors in my redraft ranking. So,
I think
clearly,
I'd say he is pretty. Like, he's pretty comfortably above him. Isn't he?
Yeah, well, DK is definitely a wide receiver 1 for me, so he is well above him this season. But for others, maybe not. I mean, I've seen DK wide receiver 18, right? So Malik Neighbors has the ability, maybe ECR. It's very possible that Malik Neighbors is, above DK in the rankings. I'm not exactly sure where they fall, but they were very similar in ADP. So it's just examples like that where you have to make sure that you're comfortable taking the guy where you think he's going to finish versus, some of these other safer elite options.
Yeah, I think it's with certain guys, they have the steam behind them. And particularly you get your home leagues, people love these certain players. They're going to get pushed up. So you might have to reach for certain players. Say if it's DK Metcalf in the Seahawks league, or if it's Malik Neighbors, like everybody's drooling on Malik Neighbors, right? He's going to go higher. So you kind of have to build that into when you're doing drafts with some of these guys. Right. Because I'm looking right now, where's Malik Neighbors at? It says he is, I cannot find him in wide receiver rankings for redraft. I don't know. Where is he? Let me look this up because he's blanking. Yeah, it says he's wide receiver 24. No shot in heck you're getting him at wide receiver 24. Yeah. Wow. So that's the Fantasy Pros ADP full PPR. He's below DJ Moore. He's below Devonta Smith. DK Metcalf's wide receiver 21. So I think both these guys are going to go significantly.
Stop it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what they tell us. I don't believe these Fantasy Pros. We'll see these rankings shift a little bit. It's particularly doing all the best ball drafts. Like, these wide receivers get steamed up. It is shocking to see these running backs go so freaking early. Like, we talk about it. Like, these running backs get mad. Even in a start 2 running back, 3 wide receiver build, like, there was a ton of running backs that went early based off of ADP. And I think we had, 2, 4, 6, 8, 11, 12. We had 12 running backs first 2 rounds. Basically double that in the next 4. So the running backs, you had 20-ish running backs in the first 4 rounds, which is well more than you would ever expect to, right? With the best ball. So it's just, this is kind of like changes your head and how you look at this differently. Because I know in Dynasty, we don't really like running backs either. So it's redraft. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, they're going to get steamed up. So yeah, it just is what it is, right?
If there's one thing that I would, and you kind of trigger my memory here, if there's one thing that I would preach to drafters this year, do not go 0 RB. Don't do it. I feel like it's worked in the past, but if you go 0 RB, you cannot take a running back until like round 9 at the earliest. Like, you're not 0 RBing with the most potential efficiency and the highest EV possible unless you push those guys well down the board, because you're also in that dead zone, which, is there a dead zone anymore? Isn't there a dead zone? I don't know. But some of those backs are getting pushed down when they used to be in like the 3rd, and the backs are being pushed down later. Just don't mess around with that. Get what, if you're gonna punt running back, do a hero build, Don't do a zero build. It's just too tricky to get that right. If you do, it's a big win, but you also don't want to be just there's a higher chance that you really screw it up than you actually nail it. So at least go hero, don't go zero this year, because everyone's trying to do it this year. Be different.
Yeah, so like that's the whole thing. It's differentiate from what your league's going to do. So if you see how your draft is taking out and you haven't taken any wide receivers first couple or running backs first couple rounds, and people are doing the same strategy as you might want to pivot, because it's telling you like you're not getting that advantage. Because if everyone's doing zero RB, there's really not an advantage because everyone's doing the same build. This was the whole thing with zero RB years ago. People are like, fade running backs. Why would I do that? And now we're seeing like
exactly
Ken Walker, James Conner, like all of these guys, David Montgomery. You're getting them around 5, 6, 7.
Sixth.
That's really crazy. That's really cheap value, even in a redraft league. So we like, and if it's super flex, they get pushed even farther. You're talking like 9, 10 rounds. So you just have to know your league and know how they're going to draft. So if you notice that, it's okay to pivot on the fly. But yeah, if you're going to play zero RB, you can do it. It can work. It's just you better do it right, where you're hammering running back, because you need to make a lot of bets, because you need a couple of them to hit. So you just start hammering them. You get those 4 or 5 wide receivers, you leave them alone. You don't take the those, because they're never going to play for you, right? So then you just hammer running back. That's how you got to do it. You can make it work.
And here's how you do zero RB, in my opinion, is you fill out your entire starting roster except for running backs, and you get 1 bench wide receiver. So if you start 3, you draft 4 wide receivers, you get your quarterback and your tight end. I mean, we're not talking kicker defense, so forget that. But you get all those guys. You get 1 bench receiver, so wide receiver 4, and then it's just running backs for the rest of the draft. Outside of that kicker defense, your whole bench is running backs, because you're hoping that some of them pop off early in the season.
Yeah, and you kind of have to play it that way. Like I get a little kind of irritated with how people phrase these, because we all kind of have different, like, how we view it. It's not a standard for all. Like, it's all different for everybody. Someone's like, oh, it's got to be around 6. Someone's like, no, it's around 8. I'm like, I don't really care. If you're punting running back, you're just punting running back.
Yeah.
Just know that strategy and play it through. So like, don't pivot to the point where it screws you over, where you're like, oh, I only got like 4 running backs. It's like, and they're all backups. It's like, that's
and
gonna
they're
be
all backups. Yeah, no, you can't do that.
If you leave with like Tajay Spears,
do that.
Chase Brown, like maybe you get Zach Moss and somebody else, and you're like, that's not that many running backs, right? So you have to really just hammer down the stretch, because you have the key of it is you get the positional advantage elsewhere. So you're okay with these middling running backs that pop off. And if one pops off like last year, like somebody that comes out of nowhere, right, becomes an RB1, that's how you build a juggernaut team. Now you need to kind of work in your advantage. But yeah, it's scary. That's the whole thing. You have to be, it's terrifying, because you can miss out and be just a god-awful team. There's risk. There's
zero is dead this year. Zero is dead this year. That's all I can say. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't care. I don't care what ESPN and Yahoo articles are telling you. Don't do it. Forget it.
Yeah, like I've almost pivoted in a couple leagues where I thought about going zero wide receiver because of how like people are drafting the leagues. But it's just all about differentiating yourself. If you can find that advantage, that's where we talk about EV, like the expected value boost. That's what it is. So know that going into your league, because it's fun. And then it's the worst though if you miss out on the runs, like you talk about, like you miss out on the quarterbacks or the wide receivers or the running backs. You're like, I'm screwed. So then you have to make a trade. But overall, like this is mock drafts for what we do. So it's fun to learn. All right. I think that should probably wrap it up, because we've been kind of rambling here for a minute. So we're going to be doing more mocks. I think we might do one tomorrow. I'm not sure. We've kind of discussed it. So we might have another one coming up with a few different settings and all of that. So I think for myself, Jeremy, I want to thank you all for coming into this. Stay tuned. We're going to be releasing more rankings, put our dynasty redraft rankings, all that fun stuff back up as we get closer to the season. We have our AMA coming up in like a week. So we are very excited to do that on Discord. So make sure you check that out. Come and, ask us some questions and we'll happily answer them. It's going to be kind of an all-day event for us. So we are very much looking forward to it. So thanks for joining us, Jamie. You have been OG. You've been here a lot, so I very much appreciate you supporting us. I can always count on Jamie coming in. I'm like, what's that, Jamie? Let's go. So thank you guys for coming in. I'm gonna quit rambling here. That's gonna wrap it up. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, not Monday. Actually, Wednesday.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Yes, exactly. Do that, everybody. See ya.